What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content daily. We also stream over on Twitch at This Is Aftersound, so come by and say hello. Okay, here's a video that or something that I've wanted to talk about for a little bit, just because, again, for people who come to the streams, you know that I'm allergic to hopium. I don't like to give it out so freely, but this is something that I think we should all think about a little bit as we're in a difficult time for the game. Obviously, it's not just the game, it's the broader crypto market, it's even the world to a certain extent. But we feel it very much because we're entrenched so deeply with this game and this community, and it hurts to see, especially for those of you who came in like myself in maybe summer of last year or even Q3, Q4 of last year, and to see what has happened since then with the falling prices of DEC and the falling prices of SPS and card values and all that fun stuff. So what I wanted to share was, one, a quick history lesson. Now, I've heard from multiple sources that there is there was a range, of about 3,000 to 8,000 daily active users before the big Axie boom came, before Untamed and Dice sold out. So really before, maybe about a year ago's time, that there was about 3,000 to 8,000 players. Now, keep in mind, some of those were bot accounts, right? Because bots existed before the SPS was released, before Chaos Legion was released, before all the big run up in prices and cards. So, there were still some bot accounts at that time, but I'm just going to go out, even if we take the highest amount, even if we take the highest amount of that, right? The highest range of that, and say 8,000 players. Well, 8,000 players. And what we're seeing right now is about 400,000 daily active users. Now, if you haven't caught a previous video, I've talked about this, but I think there's reliable evidence to at least make a very good estimation that the actual player base is probably closer to 40,000 on average. So we're at 90% bot, 10% real people. And so because of that, one of the things that I think is important to consider is, where did we go from a year ago to where we are at today from a player, from a real person standpoint, not an account standpoint? So if we take that 8K from where we were a year ago, and if we have roughly 40,000 people in the game now, this game has done a 5x. Now, we've gone through some crazy times over the last 12 months, specifically over the last 9 months. But throughout that, and what we're still seeing now, is that we probably have done a 5x over the past year. I would say that's pretty good, right? I would say that's pretty good for a game of this size and scope. Obviously, they have, a larger vision for where they want to take things, but the team has also grown so dramatically since last year. So they are trying to scale up and prepare for the flood of potential people coming into the space and coming into the game specifically. But just looking at, and I don't want to say raw numbers because of course we don't know, but I would say that 40,000, or taking 10% of our daily average users and saying that 10% of them are people, I would say that's incredibly conservative. And so to say that we've done a 5x on the most conservative kind of scale is great to me, right? Because this game has grown so much. What we did have, and this short history lesson that I think we'll go into here, is what we did have was this massive explosion in interest due to the fact that the prices of everything were so high that there was this huge interest in the space, started by Axie, and then every other game in PTE and Metaverse project kind of felt that effect, and they're all down now, right? Most of them are not where they were before. In fact, actually, I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn here, but if you know of a project that is doing better today than it was in October, let me know, because I'm curious. But I would say most projects are down from that high. Keep in mind, Bitcoin was also pushing new all-time highs in Q4 of last year. So that's another reason that there was just so much more liquidity in the space, so much more interest. There was a lot of euphoria. People weren't scared like they are today. So, and rightfully so, right? There's a lot of uncertainty in the market because there's a lot of uncertainty in the world. So I'm not just trying to call people out for being scared, but when that doesn't exist, then people do take a lot more risks, and we attracted a lot of. I'm going to go out and say it, we attracted a lot of unwanted attention. So because of that, we had a lot of people come into the space because they saw that there could be some really great earnings by playing this game or buying cards and renting them out. And everything was just so inflated and everybody was so happy about it. But that shouldn't have been the case, mainly for one simple mistake that I think the team has admitted to at this point, and I've brought it up before, that DEC should have never, ever been pegged 1-to-1 to the SPS airdrop points. That one mistake alone has kind of thrown everything off for an entire year. And yes, even though the team has been developing all of this cool stuff, I'm not saying that they have it ready and they're sitting on it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're not working on it as quick. All right, I don't want to get in trouble here, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're not working on it. How do I say this? The way that I look at it, and the way that they've even said, right, is they are holding off on releasing or doing a lot of major things before or until after the airdrop, right? So I'm not trying to say anything controversial here. They've already admitted to this on town halls, so I'm not trying to leak any alpha. Whatever I said, the way that I said it was incorrect. I'm just trying to quote what Matt, or paraphrase what Matt and Agron have talked about, where the airdrop really kind of super inflated everything because it's super inflated DEC. So of course the prices and values of everything skyrocketed. And what they want to do is wait until the dust settles after the airdrop. Now, I've obviously been calling for the fact that DEC is going to go back down to its peg. I didn't think that SPS was going to be hit this badly, but now understanding the tokenomics, the dilution rate, it makes sense. And that's why I think that will probably be kind of in a downtrend for a bit. But once the airdrop ends, this game is going to go through somewhat of a reset. So when that happens, I don't know, like we'll have to see what the economy looks like, but I can guarantee you this, that one, the economy is going to be way more stable. And two, the team understanding the mistake that was made with DEC is going to be extra careful, or at least I hope that they will be extra careful in how they navigate major changes, major launches, and anything, so that nothing gets exploited that they cannot walk back on, right? Because their whole thing is when they put it out in a white paper or when they put it out in a post, like it's law and they're going to have to deal with the consequences. So essentially that is what we have been dealing with over the past almost 9 months at this point, once SPS had come out. So now that DEC is getting closer to its peg, we're returning to maybe where the value should be. And again, I'm going to take this back to where the player base is. We have gone almost 5x, 500% or 400% from where the player base was just a year ago. And what I want to take a look at is this is probably one of the most difficult times for the game, right? We're in a bear trend overall in actually even regular equity markets, right? As well as the crypto market. And because of the fact that, Chaos Legion packs have not sold out, which they shouldn't have. So I don't even know why I mentioned that. But just the fact that prices are kind of finding this new equilibrium as a lot of people have left the space, a lot of the unwanted attention, people who are just looking to come in and farm rewards and make some money and not here for the game. A lot of those people have left, and only the people who either have one, conviction in the project, or two, don't care at all about making money from the game. They're here to play it because it's a fun game, and I respect those people a lot because those are the people that are going to be the ones carrying this forward in the long run. Now, they will also benefit, right? Because as they acquire assets to play with and to collect, these assets will appreciate in value over time, right? And we've seen that time and time again for all of the previous sets that were released. So the last bit that I want to get to, which is the hopium part of this, is we've done a 5x so far, and looking at where the new player kind of metrics are, we are seeing that we are getting roughly, let's put it, 1,000 signups a day, like over 1,000 signups a day. I mean, over the past 30 days, we're at 36,000 signups. So people are signing up for accounts. Yes, some of them will probably be bots. But the other thing is we are also seeing Spellbooks above 100 on average, right? So 4,000 spellbooks over a 30-day period means that we're doing what? Maybe 130 spellbooks a day, whatever. I'm going to even say that we can round that down to 100 spellbooks a day. Now, here is what I'm trying to say with that. 100 spellbooks a day, you extrapolate that out for a year, and we'll round up a little bit. That's 36,500 accounts. Sorry, not accounts, but like spellbook purchases. So new players who are willing to invest in the game. They've paid the $10 and are willing to play the game. I would make the argument that right now, and probably over the last couple of weeks especially, there's probably not too many bots coming on board because the rewards at this point in time aren't as, they're not as impressive. So yes, could there still be bots? Could a majority of these still be bots? Sure. I don't know. I can't say that with any certainty, but I would say that the incentive for bots has gone down so much because the amount of rewards has gone down tremendously, as well as since Yabamat was on 3 weeks ago, there's been talk about bots, or I should say accounts, needing to own assets, right? So why would people be creating bot farms at this time unless they were sure that they could supply assets to each and every one of those accounts? So I would say that a majority of what we're seeing is probably people who are interested in the game, want to try it out, and are maybe just new to the space overall. And what that equals to is roughly, we'll round up a little bit, 40,000 accounts, 40,000 new players, paying players over the course of a year, which means that if we keep up at this rate over the course of the next year, we're going to do another 2x, which, yeah, I know when you look at the 5x previously, it's just like, 2x is kind of small. But you know what? For other games to grow at this rate, or for any project to grow at this rate during probably one of the most difficult periods, I'd say is a pretty good metric to be looking at. Because if we want to look at last 6 months, I mean, look at where things were at when things got hot, right? We were selling how many spellbooks a day? Now, this number I take with a grain of salt because, again, this was the most incentivized for people to create alt accounts. I mean, I even created alt accounts, right? I don't have any bots, but a lot of people were creating multiple accounts. A lot of people were setting up bots in order to play and farm rewards. And so since a lot of that incentive is no longer here, I would say that a majority of these people that are coming in are real people. And I would rather this game just do a 2x or even a 50% growth year over year and get people who are going to be sticking around for the long run. So I'm excited about that. These numbers make me excited. Obviously, when you compare it on the 6-month chart or the yearly chart, and you're just like, man, we had this great boom and bust, and now everything sucks. Yeah, everything does suck if you're going to compare it and narrowly look at a 9 to 12 month trend, especially when you know, and when we know, that a giant mistake was made that overinflated everything. So the fact that we have still had, in my opinion, significant growth in that time, and we're seeing new people come to the space, that is exciting for me. And if you are new to the game and you made it all the way to the end of this video, welcome, first of all. Let me know in the comments below. Would love to get a read on who's new to the space. And yeah, so I'm going to leave you with that little bit of hopium, just some good news, or at least from my perspective, something that I think is worth celebrating. And, I don't know where the next couple of months will go. All I can say is that I personally am excited for a lot of the things that team is working on that could potentially bring in new people. And yes, once we do get to the end of the airdrop, I think things will be very different. The game will have a different feel overall. Not tangibly and specifically, that's going to come from other things, but just the idea that SPS being given out like candy the way that it is right now, and that DEC, a reason for hoarding DEC rather than it being a transactional currency, that's all gonna switch, right? So the fundamental tokens that we use on a day-to-day basis, their whole utility is going to be completely different in the next 4 months, and I think that's great. Or next 3 months, I should say. I guess maybe 3.5 months. So that's all I have. I'm going to leave that with you. I'm going to leave you guys with that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. We can chat more there. I will catch you on the next video, and I will see you around the game. Take care.